Every single time you tap your card, click Buy Now online, or zip some money over to a friend, you're actually on the front line of a massive, invisible battle. It is a super high-stakes game of cat and mouse between really sophisticated criminals and the tech that's designed to stop them. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the silent guardian of your finances, artificial intelligence. All right, let's dive in.
So get this, every single day, the global financial system processes billions of transactions. Just try to wrap your head around that number for a second. Every single one of those is a potential target, right? A tiny digital breadcrumb that fraudsters are absolutely desperate to get their hands on. It creates this huge, vast landscape of opportunity for criminals.
So that leads to the big question, doesn't it? In this constant storm of digital data, how does your bank know that the person buying a first-class plane ticket to Fiji at 3 in the morning with your card isn't actually you? Well, the answer is a whole lot smarter than just a simple password.
To really understand the solution, we first have to appreciate the scale of the problem. You see, the whole nature of financial crime has changed, and the threat today is bigger and way more sophisticated than it has ever been.
Think about it. The very convenience that we all love, mobile banking, one-click payments, it has a flip side. Every new app and every digital service we use actually creates a new potential doorway for criminals. In the security world, they call this an expanded attack surface. And it's simple. More doors just means more locks to check.
And we're not talking about petty thieves here. These modern criminals are using incredibly advanced techniques. We're talking about complete account takeovers, creating what's called synthetic identities, where they stitch together bits of stolen information to build a totally fake person, and even launching these massive coordinated attacks across hundreds of accounts all at once.
So when you're up against threats like that, the old methods of security, well, they just can't keep up. The digital guards that were protecting our money 10 or even just 5 years ago are now pretty much hopelessly outmatched.
The old way was basically a checklist. It was like a bouncer with a very simple list of rules. If a transaction was over a certain amount, or maybe if it came from a risky country, boom, it got flagged. The problem is, what happens when the criminals know the rules? Well, they just learn how to play around them. It's that simple.
And this is where you can really see the night and day difference. Traditional rules are static, they're slow, they can only catch fraud they've seen before. And that often leads to a ton of false alarms. You know that super annoying moment when your card gets declined for a perfectly normal purchase? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. AI, on the other hand, is dynamic. It's constantly learning. It discovers brand new schemes as they're happening, and it evolves right alongside the threats.
Okay, so let's get to the core of it, the really cool part. How exactly does this AI detective work its magic? How is it protecting your account in real time without you even noticing a thing?
What's so fascinating is how personal this whole process is. First, the AI just watches and learns your normal, where you usually shop, the kinds of things you buy, even what time of day you're most active. From that, it builds a unique digital blueprint of your financial behavior. And with that profile in hand, it analyzes every single new transaction in real time, constantly looking for anything that seems a little off. So, a sudden huge purchase from a brand new device in a different country, that's a major deviation, and it gets flagged on the spot.
And when I say on the spot, I am not exaggerating. The AI can run that entire analysis, checking your profile, looking at global data, and making a final decision in less than 100 milliseconds. That is literally faster than you can blink.
But it goes even deeper than just what you buy. It's about how you act online. This is something called behavioral analytics. The AI learns the unique rhythm of how you type, the specific way you move your mouse, even how quickly you scroll through your banking app. A fraudster might be able to steal your password, but there's no way they can replicate your unique digital mannerisms.
And that really is the key takeaway here. The AI is finding these tiny, subtle connections and patterns that are completely invisible to the human eye. It's sifting through millions of data points to find that one tiny signal that says, hey, something isn't right here. No team of humans, no matter how big, could ever hope to match that speed or that scale.
Now, to do all this, the AI uses a kind of two-pronged attack. The first is supervised learning. Think of this like studying history. It trains on tons of past examples of fraud, so it gets really good at spotting old tricks. But unsupervised learning, well, that's the real game changer. It doesn't need to be told what fraud looks like. It just looks for anything that's weird, anything that doesn't belong. And that makes it incredibly powerful for discovering brand new criminal schemes the moment they appear.
So, as you can imagine, using this kind of tech has massive benefits for both you and your bank. But like any powerful tool, it also comes with its own set of challenges.
Okay, one of the biggest payoffs for us, the customers, is the end of a frustration we've all felt. You know when your card gets blocked for no good reason? Because AI understands your personal behavior so deeply, it dramatically reduces those mistakes, those false positives. And that just means fewer interruptions for you and a much, much smoother experience.
And the benefits just ripple outwards from there. For us, it means a better experience and much stronger personalized security. For the banks, it's a huge win. It saves them a ton of money on manual reviews and helps them keep up with all the complex security rules. It's really a win-win for everyone. Well, except for the criminals, of course.
But it's not as simple as just flipping a switch. These systems need enormous amounts of clean, high-quality data to work properly. Also, it can be really tough to explain exactly why an AI made a certain decision, which can be a real headache for regulators. And, maybe most importantly, these models have to be constantly updated and retrained because you can be sure the fraudsters never ever stop evolving their tactics.
And that brings us to the future. Because this technological arms race, it's constantly accelerating. And the next generation of financial security is already taking shape right now.
And the future looks absolutely fascinating. We're seeing ideas like federated learning, which lets different banks train a shared AI brain without ever sharing our sensitive private data. There's also a huge push for quantum-resistant algorithms to protect against future computing threats, and we'll see even deeper use of biometrics, like the unique pattern of your voice. Ultimately, the future is all about collaboration, creating an industry-wide immune system to fight fraud together.
So the next time you make a purchase, just take a second to remember that invisible AI detective working away in the background, analyzing, learning, and protecting you, all in the blink of an eye. It really leaves us with one final thought. In this constantly escalating digital arms race between AI security and ever more sophisticated criminals, who do you think will ultimately have the upper hand?